The non-stop radio show.
Non-stop hip-hop.
The hottest underground hip-hop and R&B show on this side of the net.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Once again, it's your boy EMillio, EgBar. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in here to yet another episode. And if you haven't done so yet, we would truly appreciate it if you go follow us over on IG at EJP_entertainment to stay up to date with everything related to EJP Entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, you know we are at the point of our show where we are now joined by tonight's special guest, man. And this individual, this young man, this brother right here that we have on the line is no stranger to this platform, folks. We are bringing him back for a third time, man. And you know we always got to roll out the red carpet whenever we got Tone Butta from the DMV in the house, folks. So please put your hands together and help me welcome Tone Butta to the show. Yo, Tone, what's good, brother? How's everything, man?
What's happening, fam? Man, everything is lovely. Everything is gold, you hear me? God is good. I ain't complaining. Moving forward, you hear me?
All the time, man. I definitely hear you on that one, man. Definitely is always a privilege, man, to have you here on this platform, man. We already know when you come through the building, man, it's real business. You already know the vibes, man. So
you
definitely
already know,
you.
Man. It is always much love, you dig?
Absolutely. It's always love, my brother. Always love, man. So with that being said, man, so far, how was your holiday season been for you, man? How was your Thanksgiving?
Man, it's been good, man. You know, it's been a little different than the others. God has just been doing a lot of great things in my life, man. So I've been constantly busy, man, working, focused, and I recently just got married, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So, you know, God is good, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I ain't got no complaints, man. This holiday has been one for the books, you hear me? And it ain't over yet, you dig?
Hey, man. Hey, yo, first and foremost, congratulations to you on the Mrs. Tone Butta as well, man. Definitely salute to you both. And may God bless you as you continue on your journey, man. That's one thing we need to get back to celebrating once again is black love, man, because we always talk about, you know, baby mothers. We always talking about, you know, having so many different females and all that stuff. But like I said, man, you can never be more satisfied than having that one good lady that trumps 10 other females you may have with you, man. So definitely salute you and congratulations on your marriage, brother.
I appreciate you, my brother, most definitely. Matter of fact, let me get a shout out to my wife, Hannah. Real business, you know what I'm saying? God did it, like DJ Khaled said. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Definitely shout out to her, man. But with that being said, man, we see once again you've been putting in a lot of work, man. You've been working crazy out there in DC, man, doing what you're doing. We see the apparel line is out there, real business. We see the, you know, the web series. We see the movies that you out there doing right now, man. We also see you out there ministering still to the people. So ain't nothing really changed from the first time, the last time, and up until now that you have been on this show, man. And like I said, when I see brothers like you doing something positive for the community and continuing to bring back and give back to the community, man, I always want to make sure I make it a point to give you your flowers and stuff like that, man. So definitely want to say thank you for that, though. Even though I know I don't live in DC, man, but what you do and your work is very inspirational to all of us, man.
Appreciate you, my brother. I definitely appreciate that, man, for real. And like I said, man, all I can keep saying is just like DJ Khaled, man, God did it. And, you know, I'm just out here trying to be a light in the dark world, you hear me? With the music, the movies, and all that. You know, I can't speak for everybody, but I could just speak for my own experiences and what I've been through and the reason I am where I am and I'm doing what I'm doing. And the only thing that can sum all that up is Jesus is the plug, man. Jesus Christ is the plug. He put me on, and I've been on ever since, you dig? Absolutely. That's all I can say, man. And I'm just out here trying to help, man, spread love, do the right thing, man, you know, and keep my eyes straight ahead and help those, you know what I'm saying? I don't never want to get into a position to where the only reason I should ever be looking down on somebody, man, is to help them up. You know what I'm saying? So I know what it's like to be down. I know what it's like to go through. You know what I'm saying? We all down here, you know, we all go through struggles out here on Earth. You know what I'm saying? On Earth, we all go through struggles. So it shouldn't be hard for you to run into somebody or see somebody who you can relate to where if you can't help them out financially as you want to, man, you could be a listening ear. or you could be somebody who can give a confident word, you know what I'm saying? Or lend them some wise counsel, like these youngins out here dying at a rapid pace, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And not even just these young, a lot of young women, young men, people, period, just getting killed left and just crazy stuff, road rage accident, people leaving from here left and right, man, people grieving, people losing loved ones. It's getting wild out here, man, and it should be clear to people that we are living in a time, in perilous times, like it talks about in the Holy Bible. You know, we living in perilous times where things is really winding up and the days is getting more evil. You see it. You know what I'm saying? You see it. So I want to do what I can. You can't save everybody. You can't, you know what I'm saying? I'm over here in D.C. I'm in the DMV, and shout out to the whole DMV, you know what I'm saying? Always much love for the home. And you out there in New York, and shout out to New York, you know what I'm saying? Because there's always much love. But you can't be here in New York. You can't be here in the DMV right now because you got responsibilities where you are. But if you take care of what you can do there, and I take care of what I can do here, and we connect, we could do some great things, you hear me?
Absolutely, man. And that's the one
Real
thing
business.
a lot of people need to understand, man. Unity. That
Real
is the
business.
word of the day, the word of this interview. Unity. We need to come together because, like you said, man, it's just getting so evil out here in this world. I mean, you're looking at the things like you're saying, like, you know, people killing each other left and right. You're looking at, you know, the over-sexualization of our children through a lot of these big ass, you know, designer brands and stuff like that. And then you just see all the craziness that's going on, you know, all around the world, you know, with the whole fallout from the COVID pandemic and things that's been happening left and right, man. It's just, when it comes down to it, this is the most divided I've ever seen us as a people, not just here in the United States, but all around the world, and especially in our communities, man. It's like, we just need to find a way to come back together and put our differences aside, you know?
Most definitely, man. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Wholeheartedly. Like even the Shanquella Robinson?
Yeah.
Even that situation, man, you know, that situation was heartbreaking when you looking at this young woman and people who you trusted as friends for something like that to happen to you. You know what I mean? For that to be the end result of what happens to you, and you going on in your mind, you're going on a vacation with people who you saying is friends. It's like, what is the definition of friends right now in this generation? Because if that is what the definition is of friends, it's hard. It's going to be hard to stomach what the next generation under this generation it's going to come out to be if we don't get it together. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. And you know what the saying goes, man, with friends like that, who needs enemies? And that's just the sad part when it comes down to it, that you can't even trust people that you got a love for nowadays, because it's like everybody got this spirit of greed and envy in their heart so heavy right now that just even a little bit of shine, somebody want to come along and dampen and darken the shine that you're putting out there. And it shouldn't be like that. Like you said, you know, only time you should ever look down on somebody is when you're looking down to help them up. And it's like, we in a society now where it's like people just bask in the whole moment of just kicking people while they're down. And it's like, when you get people like that going along, who really needs enemies? It's like you got to watch the people that is close to you these days, man.
Right, most definitely, man. That's why I say, like, when you see me doing stuff like God using me out, which I was just a part of the event for the homeless kings and queens down here in D.C. at the 2nd and D Street shelter. Shout out to Sister Jennifer Galencia, Queen Jennifer Galencia, who sponsors and hosts that whole event every Saturday. I want to give her flowers every Saturday, man. She is down at the shelter, and this is right here. This is what I'm talking about. Somebody who understands the struggle because they've been through it, where she used to be homeless and sleep at the same shelter, but when God helped her get on her feet, now every Saturday she's back there helping out, giving, helping feed them, helping clothe them, bringing donations to help somebody else out in need. And that's where we need to get to, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at this the thing, me being an artist and making music and being in movies and all that is good. I thank God for it. You feel what I'm saying? I thank God for, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I don't think none of that is more important than actually being a blessing back to humanity. You see what I'm saying? So I look at it like I'm connected with a lot of rappers and a lot of singers and movie producers and people who names are good in the music industry and the film industry and poetry and all that, and a lot of us doing our thing. And in my mind, what God lays in my heart is like, look, while we all out here doing our thing and shining, won't we get together and go help out and be a blessing to those whose lights may have become dim? You know what I'm saying? And that's the homeless people. That's people who hurting. That's people who grieving, who suffering from losing the loved ones, the gun violence, who child just may have killed themselves because of depression. Because the devil is real, no matter what people want to think, and he's out here causing havoc. And the reason he's causing havoc, because a lot of people don't have... God has been removed out of a lot of places out here in society, man. And they wondering why the devil is putting people in the chokehold and suffocating them. You know what I'm saying? And people dying at a rapid pace. They don't know how to fight it back. People are having spiritual problems and they're trying to fight it back physically. By keep constantly drinking, you're depressed. So now you keep drinking, or you keep smoking, or you think you're going to go out here and lay around with people and find some solace in that, but it doesn't help. You know what I'm saying? So we need to find a way to get back to God, and those who don't have the strength to get back to God, us who God helped get on our feet, we need to go back and help them out. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? That's what real business all about. A lot of people come to me and say, man, I mess with the movement, real business. You know what I'm saying? And they get to talking about money. I'm like, Slim, hold up. You know what I'm saying? That you missing it. You missing it, Slim. It ain't even about the income for real. It's about the outcome. You know what I'm saying? Because if you focus on the purpose, the profit going to follow you anyway. God going to bless you. If you take care of God's business, God going to take care of your business. But what's more important is out here really being a blessing to humanity, man. Helping uplift people, be a light out here in this dark world, man, because it's getting evil by the day, man. It's crazy to see children out here getting killed at a rapid pace, man.
Absolutely.
Babies dying. Like, man, that stuff crazy, man. That stuff heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. And I hate it when nobody really takes it serious until it's at your front door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not getting taken real serious until it's your child. You know what I'm saying? We all as a community, like they say, it take a village to raise a child.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that.
You know what I'm saying? But it take a village to raise a whole family. You know what I'm saying? As I was growing up, man, I remember in the community, everybody was family. The whole block, the whole neighborhood, everybody was family. If I did something, then Miss Judy from a couple apartments down, and she see me doing the wrong thing, she gonna come and check me and give me some wise counsel, just like if she was my aunt, or if she was my mother, or she gonna go tell my peoples. You know what I'm saying? It was a community thing. It was love as a community. We don't have that no more. Like you said, it's no more unity. It's everybody just focused on themselves. Look, if it ain't got nothing to do with me, I ain't worried about it. We got to get back to community. We got to get back to love, man. Absolutely. Martin Luther King said something that was always very profound to me. One of his quotes, he said, where do we go from here? Chaos or community? And that still stands to the day. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Real business.
And it's crazy because just yesterday I had an interview with another artist, goes by the name of Ghost Vic. Just really want to say shout out to him. And we had this same conversation where we was talking about the whole family structure having been removed from our communities. It's like we don't focus on family anymore. It's all about individuality. Then the message that you hear a lot of the people was putting out, making females feeling like they don't need a man or whatever in that household to take care of their family, and then you got men out here feeling like they don't have to help raise the life they helped to create and all that good stuff. And it's just like when you put those two elements together, you have a recipe for disaster. And what we are seeing right now is a result of that. You don't see a lot of people that are family oriented as much as they should be, and that's one of the biggest things. And I know a lot of people, and I say this on this platform, and I don't care whoever say or feel how they feel about me, what I'm getting ready to say. But Candace Owens, she's one of the people that talks about father absence a lot in the household. She talks about the fact that the family structure in the black community isn't as prevalent as it should be, and she's right about that, because you see the results. You know what I'm saying?
Right, that's true. That's real. That's real, and I must speak from experience. I'm one who I was raised with my father in the household, and that played a huge part for me. And it's the thing. A person can be raised in a household and have both parents there all the time, and it doesn't mean that you won't go wayward. Because life will deal you some cards that you're not expecting. Sure. And sometimes in life, just us being people, just us being in this flesh and being humanity, we make bad decisions. A lot of dudes who was in the streets, a lot of serial killers, people who did dumb stuff, had both parents in the house. But the thing is, having a father makes a heck of a difference. I grew up and most of my friends didn't have a father. Most of their fathers were either killed or locked up in prison. And a lot of their mothers were strung out on drugs. Mine wasn't. But I spent more time growing up with my father than I did with my mom. You see what I'm saying? Because my peoples got divorced when I was a baby. So my mother went one way and my father went the other way, but I ended up going with my father. And to look back in retrospect, you know what I'm saying? I needed that for where I was going in life, because he gave me a certain type of realness where he would talk to me. He gave me a realness about life, because my father was homeless when he was younger. My grandmother was schizophrenic, so she was always sick. So he grew up real rough, you know what I'm saying? And my father's father, my grandfather, he was a Vietnam War vet who ended up going to the war. And it was told to my grandmother that he died in the war. But years later, come back to find out he showed up at her door. Whole time he had a whole nother family. So she went into a depression and a mental breakdown, and she became schizophrenic. So my father grew up rough. So, you know, he experienced a lot of things out, you know, being homeless and everything, and how he grew up, him and my uncle, you know, sleeping in the abandoned house. And, you know how sometimes, you know, family going through their struggles too, so they can't really take you in as well because they got their own family. So it was a lot he went through, but he learned through those obstacles where he was able to teach me, because I was growing up in a chaotic environment. And I want to say, Washington, D.C., it's a lot of stuff. You know, here, it's a lot of history here. You know, we got the president here, we got the Capitol, a lot of government officials here, you know, but at the same time, we like to say, a lot of us inner city people, it's two sides to Washington. You got Washington and you got D.C.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In D.C., the urban area. It's two different sides. When you got the monument, you know, that's like the tourist side. But then you come to the side that's home for us. That's home of the go-go. You know what I'm saying? That's home of the trends and the fashion. You know what I'm saying? I'm born and raised in D.C. So it was a lot going on coming up, but it was fun at the same time. But it was a lot going on. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of drug dealing, a lot of murder. It was a lot going on. The environment that I was growing up in, and I made a lot of, just being a child, just growing, I was introduced and exposed to a lot at a young age. You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy even now, because the internet wasn't like it is now. Like, we didn't even have the internet when I was growing up. You know, that was just coming into play. So now they're being exposed to even more now. Yeah. So I'm just thinking about us being exposed just in the environment of what I was exposed to. I needed that fatherly guidance. I got in a lot of trouble. I ran into a lot of brick walls. I had a lot of near-death experiences. I made a lot of bad choices. But one thing I can say, having my father there did make a difference, because there was something, even though I got into a lot, I seen a lot, I did a lot, but there was a lot that I didn't do because of counsel and wise counsel from the father that I had in my life. The discipline that I would get, the real talks that I would get from a man. You know what I'm saying? Seeing the example of a man made a difference of the man that I became. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like my father raised me to a certain point, but then there's a certain point to where it's out of your parents' control, to where you need to get a real relationship with God. You need to find a real, and I think that's one of parents, should be one of parents' top priority. Raise your child right. Teach them the traditional ways that you was raised, only if it's appropriate and not toxic, not based on the broken way that you was raised. But in the way of raising them, help them to understand and learn to lean on God in times of trouble, and not even just in times of trouble. Help them and show them a way. Show them how to depend on God and build a relationship with God. Help them, show them, point them towards God, and show them how to trust God for themselves, because at the end of the day, we all gonna leave here. Parents don't know when they gonna leave. Children don't know when they gonna leave. But parents, if you do leave before your child, at least you know you leaving them with a trust in God, because it's God the one who's helping the parents guide the children anyway. But if you leave from this earth and they have no type of relationship or awareness of who God is in their life, man, the devil gonna run them rampant. And we see that a lot in the jails. You see that a lot in the insane asylums.
Oh yeah.
We see that a lot at the homeless shelters. You know what I'm saying? It's evident of that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just where I stand with it. I really think that having one of the most important things, because it was a lot. It was imperative to have my father for my journey, but everybody got a different story.
Oh yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because some people had their father and their father was a pedophile. Their father touched them. Their father raped them. So everybody got a different story. You know what I'm saying? So I think the best thing that we can leave to each other is to teach and point each other toward God. Because out of all the things and all the good things that my father did do, there was a lot of things he couldn't do. Because he's still a man at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
He had shortcomings. He make mistakes. He make bad decisions. But one of the most important things he did was he told me to trust in God for myself. He pointed me towards God by teaching me how to pray, by teaching me how to just depend more on God to build that relationship up with myself. One of the most important times of my life, I still remember I was young. I was wayward. I was running the streets, and I was, what they say, what the older folks would say, you bad.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? I was just bad. You know what I'm saying? So one time we went to a church play with my uncle, and it was a Deron Cloud. Deron Cloud was well known. He used to well known for throwing church plays, a lot of powerful, transparent church plays about young men in the streets and young girls and stuff, how they get caught up in the hands of Satan, or the devil, and how he manipulate and wreck your life. And he would throw these plays and show real life experiences that we all go through, and shows exactly where the devil manipulates and attacks you. And they were powerful. So I remember we went to one of these plays, and at the end of the play, he would do an altar call, asking people who want to come up and give their life to God. And my uncle, he tried to force me up there. You know what I'm saying? He like, you need to go. He like, you need to go. Hey, come on, youngin', you need to go. And when I got up, I got up not because I felt like I wanted to go give my life to God, but just because of guilt. Because I felt like, well, I do be effing up. So, my uncle pressed talking about, you put me on the spot. So if I would have went up there, it wouldn't have been because I was trying to build a relationship with God. It would have been from guilt. It would have been from feeling condemned. My father stopped me. And he said, nah. He looked at my uncle and said, nah, young. He said he gonna go when he ready. Said if he go up there and give his life to God, let that be when he ready. When God called him, and in his heart, he's ready to build a real relationship with God. That was one of the most powerful times of my life that I could remember with my father. You see what I'm saying? So I think it is very important to have a father in the household. But like I said, everybody's story is different. That's why we need to be there for one another. It ain't got to be your kid that if you see them doing something wrong, show them love. You ain't got to be condemning. You ain't got to tell somebody that's doing wrong that they doing wrong. They know what they doing. A lot of people just need love, man. A lot of people need a word. I remember I had a friend, and it ain't even got nothing to do with color all the time, man. You know what I'm saying? I had a friend, is a white young man when I was in Job Corps, right? And his name was, we called him California because he was from California. You remember the movie, Remember the Titans?
Yeah, I remember that.
He used to look back. What's the Bama name? Sunshine.
Yeah.
They used to call him Sunshine. So he looked just like the dude off Remember the Titans, the quarterback.
Ronnie
he had the
Bass,
long blonde hair, but he was a skateboarder type of dude. You know what I'm saying? And he just had a lot of respect for me and a dude that I end up becoming good friends with named Darrell out there, and we called him Drizzy. So me and Darrell shared rooms together in the Job Corps. You know what I'm saying? We was in the MLK dorm, and the white young man named let's just call him Remember the Titans right now, because I can't remember his name.
Okay.
So the white young man, Remember the Titans, he stayed in the dorm with us when we first got there in the new enrollee room, right? Mm-hmm. So he was real hype. You know what I'm saying? He was real hype. Like, he was always into stuff, cursing people out. He was always off of a bunch of type of drugs. Because, you know, up in the Job Corps sometime, man, you know, a lot of stuff go on up in that job. So he was on a lot, man, dude to be off of Seroquel, cocaine, all types of stuff. And I used to just sit back and be like, Slim, are you serious? Like, is it that serious for you? Like, how high you trying to get? You off for 7 different drugs, and they do something called huffing too, where he'd take the Axe spray and make a funnel and be inhaling it. And I'm like, young, I don't know what's going on in his life, but I don't know. Is that a cultural thing? If that's something white people, I don't know. But it used to trip me out. So me, him, and Red, but he was good. Like, he had a lot of respect for me. I used to see him get into it with people all the time. Frank Lucas' nephew worked up there, right? Mm-hmm. I forgot his name, but Frank Lucas' nephew worked up the joint. He was one of the RAs. He even got into it with Frank Lucas' nephew. Wow. I'm like, dude, and they would always call me and my homie Rail. My homie Rail was a half Latino. He was part Latino. And they always call me or Rail to come and get him or calm him down, because he had a lot of respect for us. So I'm looking like, what is it that he got so much respect for me and Rail? But me and Rail would always show him love. When he wouldn't really had nothing to eat like that, he'd come knock on our room, or if he wanted a cigarette, this was back when I was smoking cigarettes and stuff, man, I'd hook him up with a couple, you know, we call them jacks down here in the DMV. I'd hook him up with a couple of jacks. Man, you know, you need a cigarette or something, man, you look like you're stressing. He'd be like, yeah, Tone, you know what I'm saying, I'm going through a little something, but it's all good. And but I would always see this look on his face like he was always bothered. But I wouldn't understand, like, why you do all these drugs? Why you be tripping out? You ready to fight somebody? But it's always some underlying issue when somebody is kind of lashing out like that. But I didn't know. So one day, me, him, and Rail, you know, we talking about some spiritual things, spiritual encounters and stuff we had. And then Rail get to kind of talking about some ghost stories and stuff he had back in Pennsylvania, because Rail was from PA where he was living. So we all sharing some kind of spiritual encounters where we had what kind of like, you know, some little ghost stories. We just telling like little spiritual encounters we had. So Rail go and tell his, and I'm like, well, you know, this happened to me when I was young, blah, blah, blah. So we like, oh, wow, man, you know, spirit's real. We just having casual talk, you know what I'm saying? So then when it was his turn, my man, I call him Remember the Titans, when it was his turn, he looked at us and was like, man, you know, I ain't really got no stories about no spiritual encounters or nothing like y'all. He said, but I do got a story, and y'all got to promise me that y'all don't share it with nobody in here, because it'll embarrass me. And I was like, of course, man, you know what I'm saying? I'm a solid dude. I'm a stand-up dude, you know what I'm saying? If you show me love, and matter of fact, even if you don't show me love, I show love too, but I ain't going to let you take advantage of me. You understand what I'm saying? Right. You know, so that's just the type of guy I am. I give respect until you disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And then the days now, I'm more mature to where I just remove myself. But with all that said, I was like, yeah, man, you good. You know, it's safe right here. We good. You know, we solid. And we never spoke on it after this day. You see what I'm saying? So he was like, well, my father and my grandfather and I used to always go on these fishing trips, you know what I'm saying, every weekend. And he was like, they had a cabin that they had, I guess, like an hour or 2 hours away by the water, and they had a cabin that they used to go fishing. They used to take him every weekend. He said, and what's crazy was, he said, y'all ready for this? And we thinking like, yeah. So we really thinking like he about to tell us a ghost story, or he had an encounter with some type of demonic spiritual interaction or something like that. So we like, yeah, what happened? So I'm thinking like some cabin in the woods, you seen a dark spirit or some crazy stuff happen. So he was like, man, you know, they would take me to this cabin, and my father and my grandfather, they would take me and tell my mom we going to go fishing, and my father and my grandfather would rape me every time they take me to that cabin. Man, me and Rail looked at each other and our mouth just dropped. And all this stuff that happened that I would be seeing with him, all the lashing out, all the acting crazy, the doing all these different drugs, all that was just his way of crying out because the dude was hurting with something inside of him that he didn't know how to get healed from. We didn't even know what to say. Like, I think tears had fell from our eyes when he left the room because I was like, dang, as a man, I don't even know how do you cope with something like that? People out here hurting for real, man. And you never know what people going through, no matter the color. People need love, man.
Absolutely.
People need real people to show real love, man. Not be selfish, not that fake stuff. People need real people, no matter the color. You never know. People out here hurting, man. Hurt ain't got no color. Struggles ain't got no color. Because when I was downtown in D.C. the other day, man, I seen white people, Chinese people, Spanish people, black people, all alike down there homeless, struggling. Struggle ain't got no color.
Yo,
you know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy.
And love don't need.
And it's crazy how, you know, with that being said, I'm like, damn, I'm just sitting here like, wow. You know, because you hear stories like that all the time. You know, I hear it.
Right.
I know, you know, a lot of these stories are starting to come out now. A lot of other things like that happening with people. And when you think about it and you just listen to the conversations now that people are having, they always try to make everything a racial issue. And it's just like you said, like there's no colorblindness when it comes to struggle. It doesn't
struggle
matter.
And love, man.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if you white, black, Asian, Chinese, you know, Puerto Rican, whatever. Everybody deals with something. And it's just like when I listen to conversations most of the time these days, I get so fed up how people make everything all about race. And I'm like, yo, it's not that. It's not that, you know?
It's deeper than that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Deeper than that. And it's not to say, and we not saying that the racial issue, racial injustice is not a problem. It's a huge problem.
Absolutely.
And as a people, we should be, the thing is, wrong should be wrong and right should be right. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't have to pick and choose. When wrong is wrong, is wrong. You can't say, well, this is more wrong than this, so we'll fight or march and stand up for this. But this is kind of just, you know, this is more normal. No, wrong is wrong. Mm-hmm. Wrong Police brutality is wrong. Let's stand against it. Let's fight against it. Mm-hmm. Racial injustice is wrong. Let's stand against it. Let's fight against it. Us killing each other as black people in our own communities is wrong. Absolutely. Let's stand against it. Let's fight against it.
But you know,
let's not pick and choose. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But you know, one thing that really gets on my nerves, and I'm glad you bring that up, is people pick and choose what they want to be outraged about. Like you said, killings go on every day in our community, the black community. Nobody's outraged about that unless it's the family of the victim that is showing the outrage. And then, you know, people that get, you know, fake worked up about it, but then, you know, a couple of minutes later, they forgetting about it because it's not one of those causes they can really get behind and really, you know, have their voices heard. But then you see, you know, the police brutality and something like that happen, everybody want to come with the torches and pitchforks. I'm like, yo, when we see these things, and I used to get, you know, called out about this a lot, and I don't care, but it shouldn't be rise to anger whenever it happens at the hand of a police officer. Where's the outrage also when it comes to us killing one another? You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's real. And I'm in agreement with you. Mm-hmm. And you know what? To piggyback off of what you're saying, let me do this too. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, and you know, and God even, just God having me in the places as an advocate, as somebody that's, you know, that does outreach, and you know, that's for the people. I'm for the community. I'm for, you know, I'm for our black people. I'm for our culture, but I'm for love first and foremost. Mm-hmm. So you ain't got to be black for me to show you love. You know what I'm saying? Because I got white friends, I got Spanish friends, I got friends of all ethnicities and all colors. You know what I'm saying? So I'm for love first and foremost. And this is really what I want to get to. There is people who are out here marching and standing against. So I don't knock. Let me give a shout out to those who are out in the communities who are standing against, because just because a person is standing against and fighting for police brutality, I don't want to knock them and say, well, you're not doing it for this and that. Nah, I want to give a shout out to the ones that stand, because sometimes, we got different people who stand for different reasons. But what I would like to see is more people get into the fight. You know what I'm saying? Because we do got people who are out here standing against gun violence in the communities.
Absolutely.
Like down here in D.C. in the DMV, we got a movement called Guns Down Friday.
Yeah.
Like I'm a part of a movement called Spread Love, Not Bullets. Like we got a lot of people. We got a lot of gun violence prevention or gun violence interrupters and stuff like that. People who go in the community, who do stuff in the community, throw events, try to bring peace. You have a lot of the artists that speak out against it. So I want to give a shout out to those who are out there putting in that work.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? From the DMV to New York to wherever you at, LA, Chicago, there are a lot of people out there putting in that work, and I salute you. And I pray that God send more help to whatever ministry or whatever movement that you got. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't never want to downplay those who are out there doing it. And that's the same as the church too. Sometimes the what's not happening get more magnified than what is happening. You see what I'm saying?
True.
Stuff about the church you'll hear stuff more magnified by, oh, this church, they stealing, they the preachers doing that, or they touching people in the car. Yeah, man, the devil is everywhere. That happens everywhere, but don't get it twisted, because there's some churches and there's some people out here who really living for God, who really walking with God, who really putting in the real work, who really living that real lifestyle. So I want to give a salute and a shout out to all those who out there making this world a better place. You know what I'm saying? Being a light in the dark world. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's out there putting in their work for real business.
Absolutely, man. And I do thank you for bringing that up and making light of that situation, because, like you said, people shine light on what they choose and everybody's standing for different causes. I respect that, and I'm not going to go on a whole tangent and just say, like, we should be equally as outraged when it happens in our communities too. But the one thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to is those violence interpreters, those that are really out there in the field, that's going to some of these really dangerous high crime areas that where the shootings is happening the most. You have a lot of people out there providing that outreach for the community, but they don't get enough attention, like say like a BLM movement or something of that nature. And that's one of the things I want to point out is like, okay, if you're going to support that cause and you want to see violence be ended when it comes to a certain demographic, now also show love to these organizations and these communities that is out there taking a stand against it, Right.
That might not have a big as a voice or a big as a platform as a Black Lives Matter. You see what I'm saying? Because some things go overlooked. So it's our job as a people to, when we do get platforms, to put on or shed light or put light on to those who may be getting overlooked, who are really out there doing the work. Like, for real, when I started performing live, I started doing poetry. And I started doing poetry because a group of women who were out here putting in work on behalf of domestic violence and sexual abuse invited me out to do poetry as an advocate. You know what I'm saying? And I never knew that that's how God would give me my start. Shout out to the Lakeisha Brown Foundation and all the beautiful, strong women that's been holding it down for some years and standing strong and sharing their testimonies and uplifting people and being a light to people who've been struggling with domestic violence. Shout out to all the domestic violence survivors. You know what I'm saying? Because, listen, I'm for the people, man. I'm for the right cause. I'm for whatever God is for. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the people. God loves his people, despite all of us messed up in some kind of way. I don't care who you are. It's some about all of us got something messed up about us in some kind of way, but God still loves us. Absolutely. So it ain't my job to judge nobody or condemn or look down on nobody, because the same way I got stuff with me, you got stuff with you. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? You might not got an attitude problem, but I do. I might not got I might not got a cocaine problem, but I had a drinking problem. I had a weed habit that was bad. You know what I'm saying? So we all got something. So that should make us look at each other more on our level and stop keep puffing ourselves up and stop looking at each other like, well, I don't do that, and pointing fingers at each other and condemning and talking and gossiping and stuff about each other, man. We living in times now where we really need to come together as a people.
Amen.
We really need to come together, because we can build our communities up much stronger than what they really are. We can do it, but it's going to take us to do it. Like in God's word, say a house divided against itself cannot stand.
Oh, yeah.
A community divided against itself cannot stand, and you see the evidence of it.
Oh, yeah.
When in our communities, we killing up each other, but then you talking about, oh man, they coming in here with gentrification. But ain't nobody, we need more people to start putting in the work, coming together, building.
Now,
You know what I'm saying? We need more of that. Because if we was taking care of our blocks and our communities the way we supposed to, yeah, of course you're gonna have racial injustice.
Right.
Of course you're gonna have those who have more of the wealth trying to do this, that, and the third. But it'll be harder. We'll have a much more stronger pushback if we was doing what we were supposed to do and not coming against each other,
Absolutely.
not stunting and flexing on each other, but flexing with each other. You see what I'm saying?
I definitely agree with that. Now, a couple of things real quick. One, I want to, open my platform, and I'm putting this out there while we're doing this interview right now. I want to put it out there that anybody that's involved in the organization that has a good cause or whatever that's really standing for something, I want to invite them to come onto this platform as well. I may not be the biggest platform in the whole entire world, but just to give you that opportunity to, speak out and, put your message out there. I definitely want to make sure that people get the memo and they know that this platform is open for anybody that want to come up here and talk about things that are really conducive that will help our communities going forward. Now, another thing, and you don't have to touch on this one if you don't want to. You can just let me know right in advance. But
before you leave off of that topic, can I shout out a couple of other organizations real quick that I'm fond of?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I want to give a shout out to Queen Jennifer Galencia, and I want to give a shout out to Miss Antoinette. Miss Antoinette, she has the Jacqueline D. White Helping Hands Foundation out in New Jersey. Y'all can look her up on Facebook and Instagram. I just performed out there recently, me and my wife and my promoter, Pearl. Shout out to my promoter, Pearl Laster, who does a lot of great work in the community and as well out in Junction City, Kansas. Shout out to Junction City, Kansas. Shout out to, like I said, the Lakeisha Brown Foundation here, Miss Mignon Anderson, Domestic Violence Awareness. Shout out to Sisters for Sisters organization. Shout out to the Earthly Embrace, a lot of the strong foundation of women who helped me on my upcoming in the community with outreach and with poetry and with just giving me a platform for God to use me to minister and speak. Well, matter of fact, I'm gonna let you get back up and say what you gonna say, because I go all day. I'll get it going all day. Let me let you say.
It's all good, man. That's why I love talking to you, man. Because we can sit here and go for a long time. We don't even feel like we've been going for 45 minutes right now, man.
Nah,
it's been a real good conversation. But the one thing I wanted to, bring up, and I don't want to make this sound like I'm being judgmental at all, but it's one thing I do definitely want to point out, because this is something that ever since the truth been coming out about some of these organizations that really like to just profit off of people's pain. That's something that I have a real problem with. Now, let me ask you, the whole Black Lives Matter situation coming out, and the situation coming to light that the money that was raised to supposedly be for the cause of innocent black men that was gunned down at the hands of police officers. How do you feel about that organization now, being that it's brought out to the light what has been going on in organizations like that?
So of course I'm not tolerable. I'm not with. I don't come into agreement with nothing that deals with greed. Nothing that deals with people benefiting off of the pain or hurt of other people. I don't come into agreement with nothing. And look, and this is the thing, like you said, I know how you said, I ain't trying to come off judgmental, because look, like I said, wrong is wrong. I've been a thief for certain part of my life before, so I can't condemn. But I would like to say, in this season of my life, I'm not with that. I'm against that, because it's wrong. But at the same time, I also want to say this: everybody who was out pushing and representing Black Lives Matter was not a part of the corruption or
that is true.
What was going on behind the scenes, of the money stealing and all of that. Everybody wasn't a part of that, so I wanna let that be known too. Because some people who were out really representing the Black Lives Matter movement, really out there in the field with it, representing the right way, still get backlash when they holler Black Lives Matter because of the wrong that's been done. And I always bring it back, I bring it back to the church too. You get certain people do wrong, and it affects the ones that's doing it right too. So I want to let that be known. It's people who out there represent Black Lives Matter, representing God, representing certain causes that are doing it right, despite those who are doing what's wrong. So we just got to know how to separate the two and not magnify so much as what's wrong, but let's magnify the people who are actually doing it right. Yeah. Now, the people who was wrong, when you see what's been doing wrong, the thing is this: God will judge them, God will deal with them. You won't get away with it. You won't get away with it. God is a better judge than anybody out here. You won't get away with it.
Absolutely.
God see you. Even if nobody seen how much money you stole, God see you. And I know that from experience. I don't care if you stole $5 from your grandmother back in the day. And 5 years later, when you think you got it going on, don't be surprised somebody clip you. And you be wondering about, man, what happened? How did it happen? Why they steal from me? And God give you a flashback. Remember you stole that money out your grandmother's purse? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I can say, you can fool people all the time, but you can't fool God. Let God deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But if God put you in the position for you to speak out against it or to do something about it, do it in the right way, though. Do it in the righteous way, though. You know what I'm saying? And that don't mean that you got to tolerate it. You know what I'm saying? But do it in the right way. But other than that, man, I like to magnify the people who was really out here doing it the right way. Because there's some people I knew and I connected with that was really out here representing, standing out, speaking against it, and standing up for Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to condemn. Like, it's a lot of back and forth. I know with people who be like, all lives matter, and it's been a lot of fighting back and forth and stuff like that. It's like this. I understand the anger of people who standing up for our black culture, our black people, when they hear people say, all lives matter, you might as well be. But some people have that. It's like we got to get to the point where we start having conversations rather always getting into arguments. Because you got to understand what a person is, what side a person is coming from. Now, if they're coming from just being boisterous and ignorant, I can't help you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You really, if you make your bed, you want to be boisterous and ignorant and have ignorant behavior about a certain situation rather than try to get a right perception. Then if somebody, you deal with somebody's backlash because certain people lost family members, they lost loved ones. You know what I'm saying? To police brutality, to racial injustice. So you got to be mindful of when you come out and say certain things.
Absolutely.
But then you got certain people who's just saying it in the sense of, you got certain people saying all lives matter. Like, well, we going through it too. But you got to realize that we're in a sensitive time. Certain times, you got to understand when to speak and when not to speak.
That's a fact.
Or when to share this or when not to share it. You just got to use wisdom. And we got to start having more compassion for each other.
That's
At
true.
the same time, like in my song, Dreams to Reality, I had mentioned, I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, but I had mentioned at the end of the song, all lives matter, it's time to stop this brutality. But when I said that because in my song, just like Martin Luther King, I wasn't just speaking on behalf of racial injustice. I wasn't just speaking solely on behalf of police brutality against black folks. I was speaking on behalf of the world. So that's why I say all lives matter, time to stop this brutality, time for us all to come together as a nation, and come together and really get our mind focused on the Lord.
Absolutely. And
so when I was saying all lives matter, I was saying all souls matter. Because we got to come together as people. God didn't make us different for all of us to be divisive because of our differences. He made us different so that we can embrace one another. And it's beautiful when we all come together because of the differences. Because, listen, I've met some people who are not black, and I've loved the culture. And look, and a lot of guys and women can attest to what I'm saying, because a lot of guys like to go to Brazil, and it ain't for black women. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I need not to say more. So I thank God for the beautiful world that He created with a bunch of differences. But we need to start coming together because of the differences, and not fighting and falling apart because you ain't got my skin color.
Man, let me tell you something, brother. Every time I get the opportunity to sit and have these conversations with you, I always walk away feeling like my spirit has just been recharged, man. Because, you know, your energy and, you know, just the wisdom, the knowledge, the information that you share with us, and just the love overall, man. It just lets me know, man, that it was just one of these things that was meant to happen, man. Like, you know, from the answers you gave, you know, the stories you told here today. I'm hoping that people out there that, you know, listen to this podcast, that listen to this radio show, and just listen to this, you know, this conversation, I don't even call it an interview, I hope they come away with something with it as well, you know what I'm saying? And it goes back to what we said at the beginning of this whole, you know, conversation, that the word of this, or should I say the theme of this, is unity and also love. I want to add that on there as well, because we need a lot of that right now in our communities and all across the country and even around the world right now. It doesn't matter what differences we have, what kind of walk of life we come from, or what cultures we was growing up in. The differences is the beautiful thing about it. That's why, you know, when people talk about New York being a melting pot, one of the beauties about it is that you have so many affluent cultures and so many different, you know, nationalities here in this city that all mesh with one another. And, you know, we need to get back to that. Stop with the differences, put that aside, man. Just get back to being together again. Be that sense of community that we once had before, that made, you know, communities in this country great. You know what I mean?
Most definitely, bro. Look, amen and amen again. I come into agreement with that. You hear me? I couldn't have said it no better.
Absolutely,
most definitely.
Man, we definitely gotta make sure we get you back on here once again, you know, real soon, man. Cause like I said, like, this right here was a very, very much needed and a very great discussion that we had here today. And it doesn't matter the time limit, I don't care, because some things need that time to get out there and be said, man. So thank you so much, my brother, for coming on here and, you know, spreading the love and all that good stuff.
Man, look, I'm thankful that you share your platform with me, brother. And that's one of the things we talking about. Like I said, you out in New York. I'm over here in the DMV. But by you sharing your platform with me, both of our audiences come together and can hear what we saying. Now your audience can hear what I'm saying, and my audience can hear what you saying, and we both making great impacts in places where our feet ain't even touching. I'm not even in New York, but somebody from New York might hear something that I said and be impacted by it. You're not in the DMV, but something you said, and one of my peoples or somebody from here may hear something you said and be impacted by it. And that happens when we come together. You dig?
Absolutely, man, and I'm in agreement with you with that as well and all that good stuff. But before you get out of here, man, though, just want to, you know, ask you one more time before, you know, we wrap everything up. And for people out there that's listening right now, you know, whether they're here in New York, DC, the DMV area, or all around the world, for those that want to reach out to you, you know, follow you online and want to, you know, connect with real business and all that good stuff, man, how can they make that happen?
You can hit me up on Instagram at The Real Tone Butta, ToneButta. Show love, because I show love back. You hear me? You can hit me up on Facebook. I'm always on Facebook. You will see a lot of the things that I'm doing in the community, from outreach and advocacy to the music and the movies and, you know, just the grind and the movement and also the ministry. You know what I'm saying? Because it's God first. You dig what I'm saying? And I'm on Twitter. You go to Google, man, and put in Tone Butta, ToneButta, and, you know, everything that I'm doing should pop up. Or if you see Real Business, spelled BUZINESS Ministries, or Real Business Ministries and Entertainment, Real Business Music, that's the record label. Then we got Real Business Ministries. That's what we started based on, you know, as far as just doing God's work, you know, doing outreach and everything. Just started a model and talent agency where we're going to help support up-and-coming actors and models and help book them, get gigs and stuff like that there, you know what I'm saying? And I want to also shout out again to, on December 17th, I'm going to be back down the 2nd and D Street shelter, helping, giving out. Also going to be performing down there on behalf of our homeless brothers and sisters, and on behalf of Queen Jennifer Galencia and the new royal family. They down there every Saturday. You want to donate or help out the homeless, hit me up on Facebook at Antonio Joseph Smith, in parentheses, Tone Butta, or on Instagram at The Real Tone Butta. I want to shout out. Hold up. You know I got to get my shout outs there.
Oh,
I got a Facebook Live talk show, and the first episode is called The Real Deal. The first episode is on December the 2nd, and it's going to start at 7 o'clock, Facebook Live. Hit me up on Facebook again at Antonio Joseph Smith, parentheses, Tone Butta. Come in, see what the real deal all about. I'm going to be having some real deal discussions with some real deal people. And, bruh, you already know I'm bringing you on as a guest. We're going to break bread. You hear me?
Absolutely.
We're going to break bread. And, you know, people going to be dropping jewels. I'm going to be talking to artists, actors, doctors. I'm going to be talking to a little bit of everybody, but we're going to be having some real deal discussions. Also want to give a shout out to some good brothers, filmmakers. I'm involved in like 7-8 movies this year, man. Glory to God. Thank you, Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Jesus, he is the plug. Shout out to filmmaker June DeGuiso out here in the DMV. I'm in his movie Saving Anna, and the premiere is on December the 8th. You know what I'm saying? So be on the lookout for that. Shout out to my brother also, and this is my white brother, an awesome actor, Thomas Lehigh, and I'm in his movie called Penance. And this movie is coming out real soon. He just had the movie premiere not too long ago. Shout out to my brother Tom. I'm also in a part of another film. Shout out to my brother Lance Hill. He got a film called Deadly Winning Numbers. So shout out to him. His film going to be coming out soon. And I'm also in another film down here in Washington, D.C. called Detective MJ, Our Nation's Capital. You can watch that joint on Amazon Prime right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm in that joint. We in it. Shout out to my man John Thompson, Vincent, Sis Trump, comedians and actors from the DMV, man. The DMV, we got a lot going on. Shout out to the DMV. Shout out to my man, the director, the film director, who's also an actor in the movie, my brother Morris D. Small. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to all them. Shout out to New York. Shout out to my man E and everything he got going on, and to the Nonstop Radio Show. You know how we coming.
Thank you, brother. I do appreciate that, man. You's a hard-working brother, man. Like, yo, I got to get on my grind.
Man, all glory to God, bro. Look, I always tell people I ain't doing it. God, when DJ Khaled said God did it, look, I know what he means, because I know what he doing in my life, man. God did it. Jesus is the plug for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but Jesus Christ landed down for me. I'm just following
+16467307971.
My bad, man. Somebody was calling in on the other line, but you know, we ain't gonna worry about that right now. But you know, man, once again, man, we want to say thank you for taking the time out here, man. And we definitely gonna talk again real soon, man. We definitely gonna stay in contact even more so, man. We definitely gotta spread this business out here, man, and you know, let people know, man, that there's a strong message that needs to be heard, and people need to understand, you know, exactly what's going on out here, man, for real.
Most definitely, man. And to all the youngest in every community, every neighborhood, worldwide, spread love, not bullets. We could do more when we come together rather than fighting against each other and killing each other. Real business, man. And shout out to my wife again, and shout out to the whole DMV. Shout out to everybody who out there putting in that footwork, man, trying to be a light in the dark place. And if you want to hear my music, go check me out on YouTube. I'm on all streaming platforms. Go check me out. I got a track called Merry Christmas. And rock that joint. It's fire. Go check that joint out. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever. Tone Butta, real business. That's how we coming. All glory to God. You hear me?
Absolutely, man. And for everybody else out there, be sure to keep it locked and stay tuned. We're going to get into some Tone Butta records coming up next here on the show. It's your boy EMillio EgBar back at it once again, and I'll be back with much more right after this.
Real business.